So this is Lenovo's Legion 7. It's a product that I think a lot of you guys were interested in. It's something that I was also anticipating because it's a product category that Lenovo has done really well for the past couple of years. Even the Legion 5, a product that I reviewed a couple months ago, is highly recommended, but the Legion 7 is a little bit different. Now, this is their top tier stuff. This is like their more expensive or most expensive gaming laptop, and it kind of puts it in the same region or realm as something like this. This is the Razer Blade. This is their 15-inch model, and this is a device that is similar in terms of product category, right? They're both like, $1,500-$1,600 base, and they just go up in price as long as you configure it. But they're similar in like height. They're both going for like thin performance gaming machines. The Razer devices are cooled better. They clock these things slower, purposefully, so they don't run super hot and they don't get super loud. That's how Razer has been doing the Razer Blades this year. This device does not do that. This is a device that runs hot because this chassis is not designed to cool the components that you can configure the Legion 7 in. So as an example, this thing can get up to an 8-core CPU and an RTX 2080 Supermax Q GPU. Some very powerful stuff. And the wattage that those two components pull is really high. Like it gets hot. Now, Lenovo has put a vapor chamber in some of the higher configured units in this device, so it helps a little, but it still throttles. And it's something that I did not expect coming from their high-end model, because the past 2 years, they did not have throttling, at least not to this degree, on a flagship gaming laptop. Now, I also mentioned the presence of a vapor chamber, right? But only certain configurations get that vapor chamber tech. Like if you get the 8-core CPU, you get the vapor chamber. And also if you get certain GPUs that are more powerful, you also get the vapor chamber. But the weird thing is, and this is really weird, I actually think that vapor chamber is not good. I don't think it cools it particularly well. So in this system, I have a 6-core CPU and the RTX 2080 Supermax Q, a very powerful GPU, but the CPU is just a 6-core CPU. It's the same CPU that's in like the Legion 5 that I tested a while ago. That does not have a vapor chamber. I'm getting worse thermal performance on this machine than I am on the Legion 5. And this is when I'm just testing the CPU. And this is the crazy thing. This is not my first unit. I ordered one from Lenovo a month and a half ago. I got it and I had bad numbers and I thought there's something wrong with this unit. So I didn't do the review. I waited for an official review unit. It came in, I got the same numbers. So it could just be that I got 2 lemons in a row. It seems unlikely, but it is possible, right? But to me, it feels like the vapor chamber tech that's in here isn't particularly well done. And vapor chambers are often a term that's used by laptop manufacturers or just companies in general to market stuff. Vapor chambers are inherently not super special. They're essentially just fancy heat pipes, but they're just shaped differently. I don't think they did a good vapor chamber on the Legion 7. And I hate to say that because I like the brand. I really like their laptops. And for the past couple of years, they made such good stuff that I can easily recommend, openly recommend. But this device feels like a bit of a miss, just in terms of thermal performance alone. Because that's why you buy this stuff, right? Normally you buy the expensive stuff because they're cooling things better in thinner packages like this. But when it comes to the Legion 7 this year, it's just got okay cooling, nothing great. Now, the rest of the device has also been updated this year. They have some RGBs on the back, like that light up quite aggressively, and you got some front kind of like underglow RGB now. All of this is controllable in software, which we'll get into in a little bit. And the keyboard is also a little bit different. I don't like this new keyboard as much. Last year's keyboard and the year before that, they just had the regular layout. They didn't have the 10 key on the right, but they've added it this year, and it just makes everything a little more cramped. It's a personal preference thing. Some people love their number pads. I don't. But the actual keyboard mechanism and the feel of it is the same as last year, and I actually like the way that it types. The trackpad's also different this year as well. They removed the individual buttons. Like they used to have buttons you could click, like physical buttons on the left and the right. They've removed that, and now it's like a single trackpad. The screen is, again, this is multiple configuration options, so it depends on the one you actually get. My unit's the 240 hertz panel. It's bright with good colors. It's really nice in games, but I can only speak for this particular panel. I don't know what the other ones are like. At the top, there's a webcam. They've moved it from the bottom, so it's now in a normal position, and there's like a plastic kind of privacy cover that you can slide back and forth if you want to close off that webcam for security. So the thing that kind of defines the Legion 7, or what differentiates this machine from, let's say, the Legion 5, it's the build quality, right? This is a metal machine, metal top surface, metal bottom panel, and the keyboard deck is metal. It's just, it's a better built machine in terms of build quality, but I don't know if I prefer it. Like, all things aside, this is like it's like a hard metal. It's probably very durable, but the Legion 5's got this nice like soft touch finish, a really well built one, and I kind of like the way that feels more than this one. And also, I don't know, like RGBs to me are meaning less and less, right? I mean, some people love the look of this stuff, but I will just say from personal experience, you get bored of this stuff pretty quickly. Like if that's what you're drawn to and you have to pay a huge premium just for the crazy RGBs, maybe you don't actually need it. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, performance on this machine, because it's equipped with such good stuff, is quite good in games, but if you push it hard enough, it will throttle and you'll notice that CPU speed drop. It's mostly noticeable in like very demanding games. Like if you're playing stuff like Overwatch or like competitive shooters where you're trying to take advantage of a super fast screen, it's not very noticeable. But if you're pushing, I don't know, let's say when Cyberpunk comes out, I guarantee that if you push that game hard on this system, you'll notice the throttling. You'll see the frame rate spike, and that's what happens when you can't cool something perfectly. So if you take a look at the inside, you can see your vapor chamber, you see your 2 RAM slots, your 2 SSDs, as well as your Wi-Fi card. All of them can be replaced. The Wi-Fi card this year is an Intel one, instead of the killer stuff they had last year, which is nice. And then you see your large 80 watt-hour battery. Now this battery took me several days to test properly because there's a bug in the software that's eating battery life really quickly. The lighting software made by Corsair, it's called IQ, chews through battery life on another level. It's like 1% every minute. And it's not just this device. Any laptop out there that's running the current version of IQ just gets their battery life destroyed. So if you want to test this thing properly, you have to uninstall Corsair IQ. If you remove it, 5.5 hours, which is pretty good. And the AC adapter is shrunken down. So last year's was quite large, and this year's is a more manageable size. The ports are laid out in a similar fashion to last year's, so a lot of them are coming out the back, which is nice, and they have some on the side. They have 2 Thunderbolts on the left, which is a lie because there's only one Thunderbolt 3 and the other one's just a regular USB-C. And the build quality on this thing is good. The exterior, like the fit and finish, is on point. Lenovo usually does a really good job with it, and this is no exception. This is like their high-end premium laptop, so it's done well. My issue with this device comes from the whole thermal thing. Not that it's an awful machine. It isn't. It's just that Lenovo has usually done this device really well. Like I said in the beginning, it's usually been exceptional, something that stood out as being better than the rest. But this year, I can't say that. So if you're asking me for a purchase decision, like should you get the Legion 7? It pains me to say this, but I would say that this year, I wouldn't recommend it. The Legion 5, awesome device. It doesn't come with like this kind of higher end configuration, but I would go for that instead of the Legion 7 this year, at least from what I've seen with the vapor chamber. And if you want something that's more higher end, like you want faster GPUs or you want like a metal finish, there's so many other devices now, right? That's where part of this stems from. In 2020, there's so much competition for high-end devices that this doesn't stick out the way that the 740 did last year and the 730 the year before that. It looks really cool. This is probably one of the most colorful laptops you can get on the market, but in terms of just raw performance, it's a bit of a miss this year. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see you guys next time.